Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I want to take a few minutes to recap some things that we'll continue to ask of you through the remainder of the school year. We must remain vigilant in our efforts. To date, we've had 3 temporary 2-day school closures. 2 of those were related to COVID cases, and 1 was due to not receiving callbacks regarding a number of outstanding test results. We did send out some communication about a week ago. The following situations I want to review for when you need to stay home. If you're sick, please call your doctor. If you or your family have had a known exposure to an individual of COVID-19, a member of your household is sick and waiting to be tested, a member of your household was tested and waiting on results, a member of your household is a positive case or a probable case, or you've recently traveled outside of the state. Please remember that per the state mandate, you must either be tested within 72 hours of returning to the state, or you need to quarantine for 10 days following your return. We must verify, the school needs to verify with everyone that the family all remains healthy so we can clear them to return to school. If you've been exposed, it's important that you contact me. We need to review your case and or your known exposure. Please note that if you have a known exposure and develop symptoms, but test negative, that does not clear you to return to work or school. Again, probable cases. Probable cases are individuals with a known exposure who develop symptoms within 10 to 14 days of their exposure. Regardless of your results, if your symptoms meet the clinical criteria per the CDC, you are a probable case and the rest of your home needs to quarantine as well. It's also important to note again that if a member of your household is either a positive or a probable case, the rest of the household's quarantine does not begin until the positive or probable case's end of isolation. Again, we all know that you quarantine for 10 days following your last known exposure. So you are still considered contagious on day 10 of your isolation, and that is your family's last exposure to you. So again, the rest of your home cannot continue to go out in the community and go to work and school. They must quarantine for 10 days following their last exposure to the positive or probable case in the home. Okay, so it's important you call me so we can discuss those quarantine dates. I also want to reiterate quarantine and isolation dates with everyone. I know it can be very confusing. If you're exposed, exposure date is day 0, and your quarantine is following 10 days to follow that. So I wanted to give a few examples. If you're exposed on December 31st, your quarantine is from January 1st to January 10th. The 10th day is still a day of quarantine, so do not send your child to school on that day 10. I must clear them in order to return. If they come to school on the last day of their quarantine, they're going to be sent home. Another example is if you're exposed, you develop symptoms on, say, December 31st. That's day 0. Okay, symptom onset is day 0, and your isolation would be from January 1st to January 10th, 10 days. You must meet some specific criteria in order to be released from your isolation as well. I wanted to change pace a little bit. I wanted to just clear up if there's any confusion surrounding the update from the Pennsylvania Department of Health and Department of Education from yesterday. Most of Pennsylvania has been and remains in a substantial level of transmission in all of Pennsylvania, to be honest, for nearly 2 months now. A lot of the schools have chosen to be all virtual during that time. So that message was an effort to get schools back to in person that have been all virtual. We will remain in our hybrid model per Mrs. Hess's recent communication that went out before break and then earlier this week. We're able to carry out all of our mitigation efforts safely and consistently in the hybrid mode. And again, we won't reconsider full in-person until Erie County is able to move back into that moderate phase of community transmission. I hope this was all helpful reminders for everybody. We're not through this pandemic yet. We must work together. We cannot become complacent. Please avoid large gatherings. Wash your hands, wear your mask, continue to social distance. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and take care. Thank you.